Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Commander Clash podcast, where we talk all things Commander. And this week, we have a spicy one. We are reacting to Reddit's favorite secret hidden tech cards. So we've dug up this Reddit thread. It's about 2 months old, where people have listed all of their secrets. We're gonna go through and see what secrets. I love secret tech. I love pulling out the cards that people don't know and they got to read, and not because they're brand new, but actually because they're old and no one understands the templating of Oracle text. Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive. You have a lot of spicy tech.
Oh,
How you doing
I got lots of secret tech. I'm excited. I'm doing really well. This should be a fun topic.
Krim, the Asian Avenger, whose tech is counterbalance.
Yo, it's pretty good, right? The tech's pretty good. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm curious to see what Reddit's got for us.
No, Krim's secret tech is Edicts, actually. Edicts is the secret tech that Krim runs. Budget Commander Tomer, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I love little tech pieces, especially because they're usually budget friendly. So I'm always excited to see what Reddit comes up with as well, too.
Yeah, the key part about being secret is nobody knows about them, so the price
They don't play it.
Price is often often low, or it's so old and obscure that it's insanely expensive, and that's why no one uses it. So it could go either way. It could go either way. So before we get into today's podcast, today's show is brought to you by Ultimate Guard, premium protection for your trading cards. So all the deck boxes, sleeves, play mats that you see on Commander Clash are from Ultimate Guard. So check out ultimateguard.com. And the show is also brought to you by Card Conduit, the easiest way to sell your Magic cards. Card Conduit lets you skip all the typing, time, and work associated with buy listing. Their curated service lets you send in as many cards as you want with buy list value of $1 more, and you pay just a 5% service fee. You can use their sorted service where you list and sort your cards and pay only 2%. You get a detailed report and fast payment once your order is processed. Get 10% off by heading over to cardconduit.com/MDGGoldfish. So thank you to our sponsors. And it's time for the Ultimate Guard comment of the week. At MCT685, I've come to the conclusion that playing broken utility lands is basically exploiting the bug of the format of lands being untouchable.
Kind of true. I mean, that's true, right? In the same way that playing a bunch of green ramp is kind of exploiting a bug in the format too. Like, that's not wrong.
You call it exploiting. It's called metagame.
Richard, how do you feel about that? No, I want to hear how Richard feels about that.
100%, right? The whole point is the metagame behaves in a certain way, and you build your decks to beat it. And you cannot touch lands, or you can touch lands. It's just inefficient. Like, no one cares if you generous gift a land, but like, who wants to do that, right? But there is no wrath for lands. There is, but they're just socially banned, right? So you play all the lands, right? And that's how you do it. Now, Wizards, it's Wizards' fault for continually printing broken utility lands. They should stop printing that, knowing that they're untouchable, right? So
Well, they should just there's so many good spot removal spells these days have the stupid clause non-land. Why can't it be just like target non-basic, like then we can actually deal with it. But for now we're stuck with generous gift.
Beast within generous gift, assassin's trophy. It's just, who wants the 1-for-1 lands when green players are pooping out 4 a turn, right? Like, it's it's kind of sus.
We need more.
But
options.
yeah. So let's get into today's podcast. Maybe we have some secret tech for lands in here. Secret tech for lands, or not for lands, secret tech for Commander. So the number one upvoted comment in this thread, apples for the wolf. Everywhere I look in my play group, it's tokens and counters. Thanks, Aether Snap. Aether Snap, 5 mana black sorcery. Remove all counters from all permanents and exile all tokens.
Okay.
That seems like pre-sideboarding against someone in your play group. Can you run this in a generic deck?
Does stop treasures, right?
It stops fill. Treasures, clues, food, junk.
It stops super friends, gets rid of all the planeswalkers, which is good.
Yeah.
I played this.
I've forgotten what deck. I think it was the past season. It was a cute interaction to try to like play with this.
Dark Depths.
Oh, so you're playing it as like a combo piece. It was
Yeah.
probably with battles. I think battles.
Yeah, there-
type with this
I think
card.
it's
This can flip all your
battles.
battles. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, when we were playing Battle
That's
Cruiser Magic
cool.
Week. That's right. There it is.
Yeah,
I like it as a combo piece, but I don't know. Would you really run this in just like a generic black deck in the dark? Like, I can see getting your play group with it. If you have someone that every week is playing tokens, every week is playing, treasures or super friends, I could see bringing it in just to be like, haha, gotcha. But I don't know if I just run it at like a Magic Con deck or something in the dark.
I think that's going to be the key thing going forward with all of these. I think like if it was so good that you would run in every deck, then it wouldn't be like a gem. They have to be like very specific cards, and I think like that's really brilliant. Playing it in a battle deck is really cute. I'm gonna put this in my Toshiro deck and try it out because it's an instant, so I can recur it from the graveyard too, and it kind of just covers my bases a little bit. And tokens are actually a big issue with the deck because I run so many edicts. Like my main form of removing creatures is edicts.
Good man.
And this gets rid of the tokens.
Isn't this a
pretty
sorcery
bad.
though? Isn't it a
it
sorcery?
not?
It's a
I'm pretty
sorcery.
sure
Oh, it's a sorcery. Oh no, never mind. Sorry.
But you do run a lot of edicts, so that
Uh,
doesn't change anything.
That's great.
I mean-
You can have all these cards that remove nothing in your deck. You got
Never
Edicts,
mind.
you got Aether Snap combined.
I think it
when
had
when you
split second
assemble the
too.
combo, you might assemble a Wrath. It's a 3-card combo Wrath.
See,
Oh, I forgot instance.
people laughed at you, Tomer, but then you start putting counters on all your opponent's stuff. You see?
I don't know.
No.
If you look at
It's not removed.
Yeah,
permanently
it
with
removes the
on them.
counters.
It
It
just removes the counters. So you
counters.
put them on, you
Yeah.
take them off. This
Yeah.
is for the one Helix Pinnacle player or whatever.
You can
in
BM.
your
Got him.
play group.
Yeah. Millennium Calendar.
Dark Steel Reactor or whatever. It's like you got them.
I thought this was like
Uh,
a sudden spoiling type thing where it was like instant speeds.
Nope.
What's it called? Split second. That would be.
Nope.
That would
If
be
this was
dope.
2 mana instant speed, I still wouldn't play it, but it'd become a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Like 5 mana
Sorcery
sorcery
speed.
speed for so narrow.
Whew. I thought it could.
Yeah,
stop,
this
yeah.
is
I thought it was going to
absurdly
stop
narrow.
treasures. Oh no.
Well, it does stop treasures. It kills them.
Yeah.
But they can
Yeah,
sack
but
them
you
in
need-
response.
You need split second. Yeah. Well.
Split second would make it a lot better, but I think it could be 2 mana instant and it'd still be fine.
Yeah, I do think the spell is slightly overcosted. When I say slightly, it's very overcosted unless you're doing a cute combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. If you're using it on your own stuff, it could be good, but
Riftsweeper. Who knows what Riftsweeper is? From Death Noodle 88. With as many ways as there are to cast cards from exile these days, Riftsweeper has never been better. 2 mana, green, 2/2, Elf Shaman. When it ETBs, choose target face-up exiled card. Its owner shuffles it into his or her library. All right, we're digging
This-
deep. What is it? What are we doing with this?
I remember this because Tomer.
I was gonna bring it up.
Go ahead,
Uh,
Tomer. Why don't you go ahead and tell them
So
how
this
we
card
know.
this card is good if you have like a specific combo piece that you need access to, and if somebody exiles that combo piece, you still need a way to get it back. And this card is excellent for that. However, I put this in my Cauldron deck. One of the many attempts that I tried to do Cauldron on Commander Clash. And I had 3 Cauldron pieces, or 2 Cauldron pieces in my hand, and I just need to get the 3rd one from my library. And then Krim Gaunties me. He sees the top 4 cards, and he exiles one of them, and I'm like, dang, that's bad. At least I have Riftsweeper. Oh, wait. Riftsweeper only returns a face-up card, and Gaunty has it exiled face down. So I couldn't even get back my final Cauldron piece, and I had the other 2 in my hand. It was the saddest day of my life.
That is definitely how I know this card. I forgot about it. It's something that I just saw as draft chaff in bulk, and then Tomer, like one game, just sat there telling us, "Yeah, I had a way to return it." What are you all talking about? Otherwise,
There's
this
only,
card
there's only
is
a couple things that do this, right? There's this.
Well-
There's Pull from Eternity, which is white, that takes any
Yep.
card and sticks it back in your graveyard. So you need another piece to get it back into your deck or hand. And then there's Karn, which does it only for artifacts, and
Yeah.
none of them work for face down. right? Like face down is like
No,
the
face down is
actual-
gone.
It's
actual
gone.
Shadow Realm.
Trust me,
Yeah,
I
like-
checked.
I will say though, this is a cute way to also just get people to get rid of their their adventure side of things. Like to also
Ooh.
get rid of plotted spells. It's a cute.
What is foretell? Is foretell?
Foretell?
a sign?
Foretell is face
It's
down.
face
face down.
down.
It's face
so it
down.
doesn't work.
Suspend. Suspend is face up.
Suspend is face
Is that
up,
exile?
so you
Yeah.
get it. You
Okay.
get it out of the way.
Any
Uh,
impulse draw is usually face up.
Yep.
Aw, that's not worth it, though, right?
worth
Are you
it.
playing a 2/2 to be
No.
like, haha, I got your adventure?
No,
Well,
no,
you
no.
use
that
it to
love
save
struck
your
one
cauldron
back in your
piece,
deck.
and then you
Okay,
randomly
yeah,
get
there
the
you go.
adventure
Yeah.
with it, right?
Yeah.
I will
No,
say
that's
this
true.
this has upside with where magic is gone, right? Like there's a lot of things being moved to exile and whatnot, face up exile. So it's nice that you can have this as that, but I feel like you definitely only want to play this in a combo deck or something where you really need your pieces.
Yeah, you're playing it to combo with your deck, but then sometimes you might get your opponent. I think the commenter is right that there are more and more exile mechanics these days, so it is getting better. Maybe another 10 years we'll have so many that it'll be worth it to just run it to get your opponents, but I don't think we're there yet.
Hold on, can you Teferi's protection? Does that
That's
no?
phased
it get-
out.
Phases
It-
out.
That's
Okay,
phased
phased
out.
out.
That's phased out. You
But
can't-
you also have hexproof, right? Or you cannot be. You have protection. From
Protects you
everything.
from everything.
have
Okay, so
protection.
you cannot be. You cannot be targeted. Then never mind. Oh wait, yeah. Wait,
No, no,
hold on.
You're targeting
wait, no,
a face-up
you
card.
could
But you
still
could target them.
shuffle-
You
It
could target
could
them.
work.
Yeah.
You could shuffle
I mean,
an
if they
adventure
have
still, but-
exiled a face-up card,
Yeah.
and they took
Yeah, and
throw it
Teferi
out,
Brume,
you
you
can still
get
target
that.
it, but that's pretty
Okay,
narrow at this
okay.
point.
Uh,
All right. Papa Spaghetti. Oh wait, I missed one. Hold on. We'll get to Papa Spaghetti in a second. NWMBA. Titania's Song is such a wonderful card against all the Prosper treasure decks going around. Sure, Smothering Tithe, all you want. I'm not paying the one. Titania Song, 4 mana enchantment. All non-creature artifacts lose all their usual abilities and become artifact creatures with toughness and power equal to their casting costs. If Titania Song leaves play, artifacts return to normal just before the untap phase. Wait, what? Of their decks. Okay, hold on, wait. That's old topic. I think the effects last until end of turn, right?
no.
Yeah. If Titania's
What? Oh yeah.
if Titania's Song leaves the battlefield, this effect continues until end of turn, is the corrected Oracle spelling. So it turns off treasures, but if they bounce Titania Song or something, all the treasures for the rest of the turn will still get the Titania Song effect. So they're still broken.
Oh,
No, the
I don't
treasures
think
go.
so, though,
They
right? 'Cause
become
the
0/0.
treasures die. They become 0/0 creatures. So the treasures
no,
will
no,
just
no.
die.
But like, let's say you can't bounce Titania Song and then Dockside right after, because all the treasures will still die. Titania Song like lasts until end of turn.
I think it just affects the ones on the battlefield.
No. I'm telling you, the updated Oracle, the current Oracle says if Titania Song leaves the battlefield, this effect continues until end of turn.
Ah.
I gotta look this up. That is
Look it
very
up.
weird.
Really.
That is
I like
very
the
odd
original
formatting.
text.
Look
They
it up.
did- they
It's
returned
some
to
weird
normal.
old
How
green
quaint.
mechanic where
I
it
love
has
how, like-
protection from being bounced.
I love the flowering language of just like the original, like the older cards, because they don't have codified games wording. So it says if it leaves play, artifacts return to normal. I'm
to
like-
their usual, to their
Yes.
usual abilities.
I kind of love this card.
Yeah,
I did not know this card existed. This one is obviously under the radar for me. It's in green. But I like, yeah, this, I could see me playing this to hate out treasures, to hate out all the, like, the artifact tokens that are made from Phil. This is very much so trying to stop Phil.
I love this card too. It's also only $1, by the way. This is
Yeah,
a nice budget
and it's in
pickup.
white border.
Yes, extra salt.
Well, for Antiquities version, only $8. That's how you know this card is not hot. Like the super old black bordered version.
So not hot.
Even outside
the
of
problem
treasures,
with this
though.
is this: you turn off people's mana rocks, they get upset at you, and they have creatures to start beating your face in.
Cool,
Because they
but they're
become
gonna
3/3s
they're
or
gonna
whatever,
do it.
right?
that's going to happen anyways if you're arch enemy, me. So you know what? I think this is fine.
I mean, this is an easy inclusion in an Enchantress deck, I think, because it's an enchantment, so you get that synergy going, but then also you're an Enchantress deck, so you have all the billion Pillow Fort cards. So, like, oh yeah, come at me, right? Like, I'm already the problem. Like, I'm playing Enchantress, and I have Ghostly Prisons out the wazoo, so you might as well just mess up any person who's playing any artifact at this point, too.
You're also slowing them down significantly, so maybe you are able to pull ahead.
It also works like a March of the Machines for your artifacts too, right? So you can make your artifacts, 9-creature artifacts, into creatures and like, be down with them. There could
You're
be
still an
use
artifact deck if you play this, by the way. I'm letting you know this now. But yeah, if you do that plan.
I just want to scumbag people with this because of
So
this
good.
weird clause. Like they bounce it and then they dockside. I'm like, no take backsies.
Yeah,
I'm like, look at this. Look at this old card that does this weird thing. Who would have thought it still has effect when it leaves the battlefield? Although,
This
wait,
one-
are you supposed to announce the trigger or something? I don't even know what happens. How does this even
mean,
work?
I guess it's a delayed
really don't
trigger.
know.
Like when it
but-
leaves the battlefield, do you need to announce some kind of trigger, or do you only announce the trigger when they make more treasures later? I don't.
Are
know.
you-
I think
are
announce it when it
asking-
leaves the battlefield, right?
You're asking about out of courtesy, right?
No,
Like,
no. I mean, like rules wise, you're supposed to announce your triggers, like Chalice, right? So when this leaves the battlefield, is there a trigger? There is, right? You have to announce the fact that
I don't think
this
there's
is
a.
gonna last. No,
What would the trigger
There-
be?
there's
I don't
not
think
a
there's
trigger.
anything
it's like
that
Titania sound
triggers.
trigger. When it leaves the battlefield, this continues till end of turn.
At the end of the turn, that's when you would then announce it, right?
No, that's when the trigger stops taking
That's when it
effect.
stops.
Yeah,
I think it's when
yeah.
it leaves the battlefield.
then you
but
would
it says,
announce it.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
you
even
gotta-
say
I think
when
you
it leaves the
announce it.
battlefield. It says if it leaves the battlefield, which I've never seen before. That's the Oracle text. I don't.
Yeah, I know.
think this card.
Kudos.
I think
card
this card is
sweet.
my favorite of
Card
all
sweet,
the
I wanna
ones that we
play
looked
it.
at. This is like by far the most playable to me.
I want to scumbag someone, and then they scumbag me back by calling a judge and saying I didn't announce the trigger, therefore it doesn't work. Therefore you died at dockside. I'm like, okay, good, well played, sir.
All to win a casual game of Commander.
No, all the scumbag
Multiple
someone
judge
with this
calls.
effect that we've never seen. Like, how many cards say this? If it leaves the
None.
battlefield, this effect continues until end of turn. Like, that's such a unique effect. I'll play it just for that.
I still can't really believe that's right. It just blows my mind because it's just so weird. But yeah,
So
maybe
the old
maybe it
templating is if it leaves play, artifacts return to normal just before the untap phase of the next turn. That's what it says on the actual card.
That's
So
so
it lines up.
comically like okay.
Yeah.
I like
lines
the
up.
older text better, honestly. Bring that
All
back.
Papa Spaghetti. I tech Mana Severance into my low color builds to cut out all remaining lands from my deck after I have like 6 or 8 on board. I like to draw into just gas. Mana Severance, 2 mana sorcery. Search your library for any number of land cards and remove them from the game. Shuffle your library afterwards.
That
You're
is-
playing
deck
this
thinning
unironically.
argument.
Thinning
Is
believers.
this a deck thinning argument? No.
This is definitely a deck thinning. Like, oh my god, this is
Combo
deck
card.
thinning.
It actually is deck thinning because okay, if you think about it, if your deck is 40% lands, right? Each card you draw is like 0.6 non-land, right? But when you deck thin, it becomes 1. That's like 2x card draw. You doubled your card draw almost by Mana Severance. The problem is you can never play any spells anymore because you have like 6 lands on the battlefield. You'll never be able to play multiple spells a turn to make use of all the spells you've drawn.
I've never heard anybody playing this just for
Just straight
deck
up.
thinning.
Deck
This
thinning.
is a combo card, right? You Charbelcher or whatever, right? Like
Right,
you do
yeah.
anything that's
Yeah.
like mill until you
Thassa's
hit a land
Oracle,
card,
yeah.
you know?
You
Right.
Riftsweeper like back.
Honestly,
Because-
okay.
So you can hit one land randomly.
When would you feel comfortable playing this? Is there a point in a game of Commander where you're like, I don't want to make a land drop for the rest of the game? Because I don't know if I think on turn 15, I still want to make my land drop, right? I don't think there's ever a point where I want to stop hitting my lands. which means I don't want to play this. I don't think.
I mean,
unless
there
I'm
is,
comboing
right?
with
Let's say
it.
you have 10 lands on the battlefield. Your hand is 5 more lands. You're like, okay. But like, I'd rather put literally any spell in my deck other than Mana Severance for this scenario, right?
I
Like,
think
it's-
Would
if
you
you
just
want this to
play a
draw
land
you
that takes
non-land,
advantage of all your lands, like while you're flooded, instead
Yeah,
of this, like
you
a
would-
Sphinx's
you'd
Rev or
literally
something?
put literally anything in your deck, right? For the
I would just
flooded
add more
scenario.
card draw. Like just
Yeah,
add more
exactly.
card draw. Like you want to draw non-lands, then cast card draw. You know.
If I see you casting this just straight up, you could tell me that you're not doing anything weird. I'm gonna assume you're doing something weird and kill you. like that is.
But Grim, I'm just deck
assuming you're
thinning.
gonna-
Yeah, I'm just tech thinning. I swear, bro. Okay, sure.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's like Charbelcher or anything that says mill until you hit
Yeah.
a land.
Yeah.
The game.
Yeah, it is blue, so you can go right into Thoracle with it.
And
like
Thoracle.
after you mill
It's
yourself.
very suspicious.
Very
But
bad.
I suspect most people play this the fair way. Like, I don't know, Commander players are allergic to lands. Everyone's running like 30 lands so that they don't draw more than 4 a game or something, and they all sit there with like 4 lands in play. Like, I don't know, man.
I've never seen this in the wild.
I think I've
Tracks
seen
with 30
combos,
mana,
but-
mana sources.
I mean, someone mentioned in the thread Joyra. That kind of makes sense to me, right? Because Joyra, you're trying to storm off by chaining historic spells, and the way you fizzle is you hit too many lands and the chain stops. So if you're doing something like that, I can see the argument for it. But
Like the things that play off the top. So what's that artifact? That 4 mana artifact that lets you cast? Is it artifacts or anything off the top of your deck?
There's so
remember
many
these?
future sites these days.
Oh,
you can tap
Mystic
it. You can-
Forge. Mystic
Yeah,
Forge.
Mystic
oven.
Forge.
Yeah.
Bolus's Citadel, like stuff like that, where you just
Yep.
But like Tomer said, that's a combo piece, right? you're doing
Yeah.
the combo right now, right? You're trying to go off, but a fair mana severance? Woo!
Wait, isn't there like Umbrus or something? I want to read them. No, never mind.
What?
I got it wrong. Never mind. That's your opponents. Whoops.
All right. Okay. We're gonna skip ahead to the exact opposite of mana severance from Maximum Dad. If you're running mono blue, Mitotic Manipulation and Retraced Image can be your ramp cards for islands. Mitotic Manipulation, 3 mana sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You put one of those onto the battlefield if it has the same name as a permanent. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. It's a singleton format. The only thing eligible for this is usually basic lands, right? So this would be your mono
blue ramp.
My children.
Ugh.
You have heard the good word.
I love this.
Mono blue land ramp. Long
face.
have I said that Retraced Image is not a meme. Mitotic
wait.
Manipulation is a 3 mana rampant growth. You see? In mono blue? Easy.
Yeah.
Easy life.
Wait, you love this, Richard? Could you can't even play this in your decks.
I
you
will
don't have
play
any
this in mono
basics.
blue. So ever since I think Phil taught me about this like 6 months ago or a year ago, if I play a strictly mono blue deck, then I will attempt to put this in Retraced Image. The other card mentioned is reveal a card from your hand, then put a card that has the same name as a permanent into play, and that's 1 mana. So that's 1 mana growth spiral without the card draw, right? I don't know what the equivalent effect of that is, but it's
like
blue.
an explorer without the card draw, but it's 1 mana instead of 2.
How many islands are you gonna be playing though? That's the question. Like that's the thing, right? You have to be
20.
playing
Like
Okay.
20. You have to play
Okay.
more than that. I think you have to
20
play
is
like
low,
27.
yeah.
If you're gonna build a Tomer deck, then yes, then it actually works. But if you're
Well,
playing a Richard deck where you have 3 islands and all utility lands, there's no.
I mean,
way
I
it
would
can
never put
actually
this in a
work.
dual color deck, but a monocolor deck is where things could start happening.
And blue
Especially
really
blue, because
like
you need the blue
islands.
pips. Blue needs like double blue for counter spell or stuff like that, right? Like you actually need some blue pips going on in blue. So you play more islands.
It's not
I think-
like tapped, busted.
I think that this is even better in Spell Slinger, though. Like, I'm not going to put this in all mono blue decks, but like, one of the very first bunch of Commander brews I ever did, it was like 2013 or whatever for Goldfish, Talrand. Like, you cast any of these, you make a Drake. You trigger all your Spell Slinger stuff. It's actually very legitimate there.
It's also hot tech if all your playgroup play the same things. Like if someone has like a Jin Gataxius or something, you like Tonic Manipulation and drop your own Jin Gataxius on the battlefield. It works, right? Like as long as there's any permanent on the battlefield with the same name. So you could, I don't know.
It's good with
what's a good one?
clones.
God.
Like a clone, a maze of it or something. Like there's a common card that other people play. If you find one on the top, you could chuck it into play as well.
Commander players out here like really working overtime. I hated seeing this card so much. When I opened it.
Wouldn't
It was
funny?
your
Your opponent
worst
like combos an Emrakul, not an Emrakul. I don't know what's like a Traxa or something into the battlefield, and you happen to have a Mitotic Manipulation and an Traxa. Like
It's
hilarious.
so
Yeah.
unlikely.
There's funny
it's
situations.
so bad.
The real
try to
the
do
real
that.
spice.
This
The
is
real
just
spice, my
ramp.
friend. Here you go. Here you go. Watch this. So you have a creature on the battlefield, right? You equip it with Spy Kit. Spy Kit says it has every creature name in existence. And then you cast Retrace Image, and whatever big thing you got, big haymaker you have in your hand, bam, it's on the battlefield. So it's like, oh, my 1/1 that has Spy Kit on it, it's now Jin Gataxius. Hello.
Yeah, it was. I just played a Spy Kit deck. It was in my Spy Kit deck. Which of these would you play? You can only play one of them for ramp. It's got to be the 3-mana one, I guess. Which one do you think is better?
Over Retraced
3-mana
Image?
one. Yeah.
Like Retraced Image, you have the at least manipulation does something if you draw it off the top when you have not much in hand, but like Retraced Image is dead if you draw it off the top, right?
I like Image way more though, because it's all about that explosion, BB. Like you have this on turn 1, you have a turn 1 play that's ramp. It's insane.
Soul Ring.
That's true.
But you go
It is
down
more
a card.
explosive.
You go down a
Whatever.
card. This one,
draw
you know,
more.
I like this because
This is like a
Seth
jeweled
and I play
lotus.
the same cards. Imagine he has a Mind's Eye and I drop a Mind's Eye on the battlefield. That's infinite card draw, baby. Or
That is true.
he has a Solemn. I drop a Solemn. I'm like, that's ramp, a body, and card draw, right? Like,
It's true.
I feel we can do something here. Or Seth has a propaganda.
Maybe-
I have a propaganda.
Maybe we
So-
both start playing it, Richard. We should coordinate on this before the next
Like
Commander
in
clash.
CDH, everyone plays. What's that card that? What is it? Tutors out of your opponent's deck. What is
Praetor's
that?
Oh,
Praetor's
Praetor's
Grasp.
Grasp, yeah.
Like in CDH, everyone plays the same card pool, so you can actually use these cards to like good advantage. Like say with Mitotic Manipulation, maybe we could actually get that
At
done as bonus
sorcery
upside
speed,
over
though?
ramp. Well, no, you use it as ramp, but like it's like Cursed Mirror, the red mana rock. Like you use it as ramp, but sometimes it just like does something crazy and wins the game. Well,
Yeah, if you got enough, I was mathing it out. It looks like if you play 20 islands, you're like 80% to hit with a manipulation. If you play
What's
10, you're like 50% to hit. To get to 90%, 25 is a little bit short. What if you go, let's see, 30? 30 is 92%. So if you go like 28,
30.
somewhere in that range, you're up to like 90% to hit with it.
I like 90%. If you could get 90%, that's solid.
I'm gonna play it in like 5 color decks.
Oh,
I'm
no.
just dreaming. Like, you get a Mystic Sanctuary from it. Like, bam! Like, there's so much good side. Like, there's so much stuff you could do. You can get a command tower from it. Like it doesn't have to be only islands, right? Like, someone probably has a command tower. You have a command tower. Like,
Just play the 1/1 Death Touch thing that tutors for Command Tower.
Oh God, that card.
that's green. This is blue. We gotta work super hard for a ramp. Okay.
That's true.
But the
that's
replacement
true.
is you just like run like a Mind Stone or something. Like
yeah, like
there are other options.
Look, Mind Stone is always
Mind
Mind Stone, but Mitotic Manipulation could be a Mind's
Be
Eye.
anything.
And then you're
It
good.
really
then you
could
have
be
infinite
anything.
card draw with Seth.
it could be anything if it's in the top 7 cards of your deck. Yes.
Yeah.
That's deep. That's like 10% of your deck.
But you're also
about it
relying
that way.
on them to have it, which is
Oh
very
my
loose.
god. It's
What if
over
you scroll rack
$3
combo
damage.
with this? Okay, we're
Not
getting
a
old.
combo.
That's good value.
NWMBA. You like niche cards? How about Tower of the Magistrate?
I know this
Oh,
card.
I remember this from my legacy days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like
a land.
This thing is like still expensive.
You tap it to add a colorless mana to your mana pool. 1 and tap. Target creature gains protection from artifacts until end of turn. So you use it to knock equipment off of things. I would say so. NWMBA says it's good against Voltron commanders, but it probably isn't because they probably have hexproof, and then therefore you can no longer use this ability when they have hexproof or shroud. But if someone just has like a sort of body mind or something, bam,
Yeah. Or
you get them with it.
Tomer's trying to assemble Cauldra. This has got to be the nightmare for Tomer.
No, you just pick 1 mana. You re-equip everything onto an avatar. Bring it.
The only well, hold on. With what? With what avatar?
So if you summon all 3 Cauldra pieces onto the battlefield, you could pay 1 mana, activate it, and summon the Cauldra avatar, and it auto equips all the equipment onto it. It's that powerful. Yes.
It truly is unbeatable.
So is this card worth playing? Like, do you think it's worth considering for a utility land slot?
So I actually played this recently, and it was in my Gissa deck because it commits crimes. I can just randomly target something to commit a crime.
1 mana commit a crime.
That's
yeah,
but I like that.
But unless you have some explicit synergy, or I don't know, your pod is full of card structs or something. Like I don't think you would put this because you could play literally any other utility land that will probably get you way more utility. Because of the hexproof issue, right? If you could bypass hexproof, then this is funny, right? Like you can knock off boots or something and then kill the commander.
Yeah.
But because it still dies to hexproof, doesn't die, it gets countered by hexproof. It doesn't do as much as I would like it to do. So I can't think of playing it in a random deck, but it commits crimes.
That's
mean, because
super
if you-
clever. I love it in Geese.
Yeah, the crime thing is really cool. Yeah, if you think about it though, like the 2 most popular equipment, right, are boots and greaves by like quite a bit. So the fact that it doesn't line up with the 2 most played cards of its type is kind of a little bit sketchy.
It's also expensive for what
It's like $13. Like, I mean, I guess expensive-ish. Yeah, it's like $13.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, you could get a better utility land, I think, for less.
Yeah, like $13 to have a very extremely narrow card.
All right. Nylstar, Nylea Keen-Eye. I've never had this on the field and not gotten value out of it. Cool indestructible creature, sure. Dig for other creatures for 3 mana. Heck yeah. So 4 mana, 5/6. Indestructible. It needs 5 devotion, otherwise it's not a creature. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. You can pay 3 mana for its activated ability. Reveal a top card of your library. If it's a creature, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it into your graveyard.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think this
yeah,
is
seems
sweet.
fine. If you're like
It's-
the creature heavy green deck, like
Yeah.
it ramps and generates card advantage. We talked about that a million times, right? Like mana and cards is what you want in Commander, and this kind of does both, I guess, if you're playing a lot of creatures.
Yeah, like yeah, I have a bunch of decks that are like 40 creatures, like very easily, even higher than that. And when I'm in that range from like 40 or more, then yeah, this is just fantastic. It's also a big indestructible creature too. It's like exceptionally good in Galta, for example, where it's like a mana discount, but then it's also a 5-power indestructible creature that makes Galta cheaper. So I put it there. It's fun.
40 creatures, 40 basics, and you got a Tomer deck.
Yeah.
Wait, Tomer, do you like this outside of like a Galta deck? Because
A creature
Mind's
has-
Eye is 1 mana draw a card.
Oh, I
This
never
is-
activate this.
This is 3 mana.
No.
Like draw a card 40% of the time, right? Like this is kind of sus. Even if you set it up, it's still
No.
3 mana draw a card.
If you're activating this, you're losing. I just like it's a
So
big
use it as
5/6
Emerald Medallion.
But it's a
kind of.
creature emerald medallion that's a 5/6 indestructible that will punch you in the face really hard. So
Okay.
I like that. The activation, I think only if you storm up of it. There's like a silly budget brew that's like Nylea, and then there's like something Tangle Cord something. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you add green mana, and then you could lower the cost of the activated ability down to like 1 green, and you could like kind of storm off and stuff. It's like a lot of cards, but like, yeah, I don't really
Or-
activate this that much.
Or like, yeah, Biomancer's familiar, Training Grounds. If you can get the cost down to 1, then it becomes a lot more appealing. Plus, it does surveil, right? Like you can dump it in the graveyard if you don't want it. So at least you get a little more value out of it. But yeah, the 3 mana is kind of a lot. Mind's Eye. Just play Mind's Eye.
Just play
Don't activate it.
I mean, if you don't activate it, it becomes very hard. Like you have to build around it, like, you know, as opposed to a generic staple that you can throw in a deck.
Okay. If you're not going to activate it, is it better than just playing a ramp spell, like Explosive Vegetation or something?
That's a creature.
Well,
Like, only if you're doing Galta things or something, right? like you gotta be doing something special with this body, because it's not a body until you have 5 devotion. So
If you're not using it for its activation or a combo piece, I don't think you play it.
Woof.
yeah.
I
haven't played
I
through
said
it
this
in a
has
really
to be a
long
combo
time.
piece or something to dig through your deck. And if the activate ability is unappealing, then I don't know. There's better ways to go about the first half.
Okay, I'll say it's not like the best creature ramp, but Galta.
Galta,
Gal-
okay,
Gal-
well, Galta-
Galta makes everything good.
That's true, actually.
Underscore Yolk Abjure in Yuriko blew my LGS's mind the night I whipped it out. So Abjure is a 1 mana blue instant. As an additional cost, sacrifice a blue permanent, counter target spell. Krim, where does this go in the
Wait.
power ranking of counter spells?
It's like not on there. I used to sit around with back when I surprisingly was a judge, and I would play this game of mental magic, right? Where we would sit there, me and the other judge, we would just play a game where we try to resolve a spell, right? And then we just mentally off the top of our head name every counter spell we can until we can't. And so,
Oh my god.
so yeah, this is one of those cards. So I've dug deep. I've dug deep.
I'm
I don't know why
surprised
everyone's-
for 2 things. I don't know if I'm more surprised that Krim doesn't like this spell or that he was a judge. What? I've never known this before. What?
I am not surprised that for fun he just sits around and lists off counter spells. I expected
no,
that.
that's
I
fine.
figured that's like at night, Krim just sits in his apartment and goes down the list of every counter every night. Got to
If
remember.
he has a little
Strengthening your
Krimling
mind,
in the future,
okay?
you know, he definitely will rock the child to sleep by just listing all the counter spells in Magic.
Why
This is
why
not.
Eureka? Why Eureka though? I don't understand. Like, what is the synergy? They specifically mentioned Eureka. Isn't that the ninjutsu ninja commander? Like,
Is there another
why
one?
what are we sacking? Why
You just
why
sack
Eureka?
whatever- You just sack whatever cheap evasive creature you had on the battlefield to get Eureka out in the first place.
Well,
But
so
what
like
if I
Eureka,
just-
Stay around though?
Eureka, the reason why is because you only ever pay 2,
Yeah,
right? So
that too. You can
I
sack
guess
her.
that's why.
Oh, you sack her.
So then you
Oh, you're
get
gonna
it.
sack
you
your
sack
command.
her to
Wow.
then. Well,
Oh, you
you,
can sack whatever.
I mean,
you could sack
or-
whatever, but it has to
or-
be a blue
so-
permanent.
Yeah,
Or you can just
So-
play a spell pierce or a
well,
Well,
offer you
Spell
can't
Pierce
read.
is
Spell
not-
Pierce
power-
falls
the
Swan
The power
song.
in this is it counters anything.
That's
right,
true. That's true.
That's where its strength lies. It's 1 mana and counter any spell. Problem is, I don't like the sack of a permanent. And if I'm playing Eureka, I've already won anyways. I don't need some obscure like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so Tomer's favorite deck, Tolerant. You know, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you make a blue Drake. So you're gonna have ample Drakes. So this could make sense.
yeah.
It's
could see.
$1 is probably the strongest appeal here. 1 mana counter everything, because otherwise you would just play Force of Will, Fierce Guardianship, Pact of Negation, Swan Song, etc. All of those are quite expensive compared to the $1 of Abjure. So Tolerant, I think, could make it. But other than that, it's hard to have blue permanents lying around you want to sack, unless there's like mono blue aristocrats that I don't know about. Like, anything
Yeah, that's what I was.
sack.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is there an upside? Like somehow, like, are you trying to use it as a sack outlet? That would actually be pretty sweet. But
yeah.
the blue restriction makes it kind of tough. Blue isn't the most aristocratian color, I don't think.
Yeah, I run it in Min Wily Illusionist because you want to sacrifice your illusions to ramp out permanents from your hand. So that's really thematic and works well. But I also ran it in Edric since like the first time we played Egypt together. Like,
Why?
it's
Are you-
like-
wait, no, but aren't you full of mana dorks? Like,
yeah,
they're
no,
what
they're
are
not
you
mana dorks.
stacking?
They're all just blue. They're blue flyers.
oh, they're
It's like
blue
cloud
flying.
sprites
They're
and
blue
stuff.
flying ones. Yeah.
And I don't
Ooh.
like if I'm ahead on board, I don't care about sacrificing a random blue flyer so I can counter whatever thing you're throwing at me, and then I can keep drawing cards and playing more of them. That's fine.
Look, I
That's
theoretically
thematic and
play a
very
deck
good
that
in
uses
that kind
this.
of deck.
Birds. I'm not going to sack Fledgling Osprey for this.
You're not sacrificing a bird?
Ridiculous. Exactly, right? Like, no, these are valuable creatures that I sunk 2 mana into. I'm not sacking birds.
What about
This
the one
or
mana
counter
ones?
spell?
Counter
Just
spell.
the counter spell.
Counterspell?
This or counter spell? Like if we're
Counterspell.
doing the budget thing, because
Counter
counter
spell.
spell is like less than $1. Like you just play
Yeah,
counter
somehow
spell.
it's cheaper.
Yeah, but
too.
Abjure is expensive now. I remember back in my day, it was like a 10-cent card.
Okay, it's $1
Oh,
now. Tomer.
goodness.
Hold on.
That's out of the budget. You think I
That-
could keep putting in $1 cards in all my decks?
Having
Sheesh.
tried to build a $10 deck, I see where this would be against the budget.
I do like the original. So the original templating. So instead of saying as an additional cost, right, it says sacrifice a blue permanent : counter target spell. It makes me feel like I could throw this on the stack and counter everything on the stack. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You can't counter multiple spells with this. Okay, you gotta
Oh,
sack a blue permanent as you're
Oh.
doing this.
this should be an enchantment. If this was an enchantment,
I
that'd
thought
be
it
spicy.
was.
That'd be broken a long time. If
Mm.
it was an enchantment, it'd be very good in Tolerant. Like very, very good.
Oh, Wizards, please, if you're listening.
That's Modern Horizons 3. Wait for it, Seth. Next card. Formerly K, Skyhunter Strike Force, my beloved 3 mana triple anthem. 3 mana 2/2, Cat Knight, flying melee. As long as you control your commander, other creatures you control have melee. Wait, is this the right card?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yep.
Skyhunter
Wait, is-
Strike Force.
What does melee do again?
Okay.
So it gets
melee is whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. For each opponent, you attack this combat. So when you attack, 3 opponents will get attacked, so they become 5/5s. Right? That's how melee works.
They get 3/3.
Well,
but everything gets
so if you attack
3/3.
for each opponent you attack, all your creatures get +1/+1 if they have melee.
So
Right,
you
so
can get
all your creatures would get +3/+3 essentially.
Yeah.
No,
plus 3
If you
plus 3.
attack 3 opponents, your melee creatures get
Oh yes, only your melee
everything-
creatures get the anthem, right?
Yeah,
So
if
only
it's
your
good
melee
to
has
creatures.
melee.
But if you have a commander out, like this one, I thought was a staple in Ishin.
Oh, I got it. Okay, all your creatures have melee if your commander is out, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you attack, this gives all your melee creatures +3/+3 if there's
But,
It
but as
actually-
long as you have your commander, other creatures you control have melee. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's actually
so it's
super
that's a
sweet.
team anthem then.
I don't
If
think
you
yeah,
have
it's
the
a
combo.
secret. I think this is played like a decent amount, no?
No,
I
don't
know how it works.
Never
Never
even.
played, but
Wow.
I've
I mean,
never
it-
seen this.
I put
it
this in
seems
all
like
my
a good
comments.
It seems like a good aggro card. Like if you're trying
Yeah.
to beat down with creatures, like it's only 3 mana. That's actually, especially if you have a cheap commander. If you're playing
No haste,
expensive
though.
commander, it gets kind of worse. But
No
I
haste.
kind of want to put it
Ishin
in
loves
Ginny
this.
Faye.
Oh,
yeah,
Ginny
it'd be
Faye
good.
could-
It would work in Ginny Faye. Yeah, so any sort of go wide deck, you're getting a lot of value.
Yeah,
it's replayable.
I
Knight-
actually, hold on. I did forgot. I don't think I've ever seen this card. I
from
definitely
last
have looked.
year, that's why.
Oh, it came out last year.
Yeah.
Dude, that's buried under
from-
time, baby.
Okay,
okay.
all will be
Like,
one commander. It's from all will
I-
be one commander.
I think this is the most generically playable card we've talked about so far. Like,
Yeah,
if you just want to jam a card in a random deck, I think, like, you got to be a creature deck, but I think you'd
Gotta
actually
be.
just play this. It's not like you got to be like some specific combo deck or something to make it work. Like, if you're going to play your commander and you got a bunch of creatures and you're going to attack, like, seems fine.
Yeah,
If you go wide and you play your commander or your Ishin, and even better.
Yeah.
And also, it
Oh.
affects even the turn you cast it too. Like it still gives all your other creatures melee as long as your commander's on the battlefield. It doesn't need to have haste or anything. So it's pretty nice.
All your other stuff.
I
still gets
kind of
bumped,
love
yeah.
that.
It's a
Yeah.
cat knight, if you're curious. So knight decks have some synergy.
Yep.
Yo,
Knight
can we
decks, cat
start?
decks.
Can we stop making like? Okay, I get it. Cats are great. I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but like, when are we gonna start making dog decks good? Like, I mean, like really good though. Like
Because there's
cats,
no dog people.
cats have
in-
gotten too much
in
support.
MTG.
All right. Where are the dog lovers
on.
at? Okay, dog lovers in the chat, please step up.
What about the
because
fish people? I just
Let's
we
call
have no
Merfolk.
fish
Yeah.
support.
Where's
No,
my
what are you
Homerage?
talking about?
Like, what
Those
are you
are
talking
weird.
Merfolk? They get something every 4
I don't want
sets.
merfolk. I want actual fish.
Oh, literal, literal
literal,
fish.
like-
Blueborough,
Little
Blueborough, baby.
Bloomberg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want.
Maybe
Blueborough
once-
better
fish
give me the
synergy.
dog, like the dog support I need. Okay, I'm just saying.
I think you'll get that.
Turtles.
Wizards has
I
been
want
making
turtles.
random dogs, like all the secret layers and stuff. They've been doing like normal household.
Yeah, but they're like random
Pets.
dogs that aren't that powerful, right? I'm like, yo, come on, give me that one busted dog, all right? Come on, or multiple.
Look,
busted.
Thraben Pureblood. It's a 5-mana 3/5 in white, Crim. Look how powerful that is.
Yeah.
How about
It's a
Busted.
3/5.
How about Hound's Blaze, Richard, or whatever? There is a Hound's Blaze or
I don't know what-
Hounds.
What
It's
does
a
it do
4
with magic?
mana.
I don't know.
It's a 4-mana red 4/4 dog with haste, and you take 4 when it enters play.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Is that like lava hounds or
Oh,
something? I
lava
remember that
hounds.
card.
There it is. Lava
That might be
hounds.
lava hounds.
There we go, baby. Aggression. Hound's
It's
Blaze.
still better. It's still better than what turtles get. We don't even have a single turtle support card. Think about that.
But like okay, I agree. Turtles don't get that much, but they get probably more than no dogs probably do.
Like,
but like the
literally
thing is,
no cards care about turtles.
because like
Yeah, but
this-
how many
this-
people care about turtles? Lots of people care
I
about cats
care.
and dogs, but like turtles, not. Yeah, they're not S tier pets, right? We need a
I-
pet tier list.
Wizards has
cats
to
have
design
the
for
most.
me and me alone. All right.
Cats are starting to get to a point where they're just getting generically good cards now, right? So that
Yeah.
and this is one of them. Strike Force, I think, is exactly one of those cards where it doesn't have to go in a cat deck. It can go in any aggro, go wide deck. But I'm just upset that it's a cat. When are we getting a dog knight that does generically good stuff? Every dog.
When are we getting a
super niche.
turtle knight?
It's called Loyal Warhound. There we go.
Okay,
That's
I said a
generic-
good card. Okay, a
That's
good
generic
card.
dog goes in every deck.
No,
all right.
Richard.
Scrivener 1/3/3. Standstill in my Demir deck. Turn 1 or 2. Drop it. No one casts anything. Land pass for 8 rounds. 2
That is how
mana Standstill.
works.
Enchantment. When a player plays a spell, sacrifice Standstill. If you do, each of that player's opponents draws 3 cards.
I still,
crafted
have, I still
1v1.
have trauma from this card.
In a
seems-
4-player game, there's a lot of cards going around still.
Yeah. Yeah, you have 3 opponents that are making their land drops and drawing cards versus one of you. Isn't it like a negative in a 4-player game? I would assume that you wouldn't want to
What's the
stand still in
name
a
of the
4-player
card?
game. Standstill. You never.
Oh,
you know Standstill, don't
literally
you?
Standstill.
Literal Standstill.
Literal
The
Standstill,
legacy.
The blue
yeah.
enchantment.
Yeah, literally.
I'm
If your
old
deck
enough
is
to remember
built
this in
around
like
it,
1v1.
then-
Oh,
It
perfect.
was awful.
Then you win.
Didn't we get in a standstill situation early in the control episode?
Pretty
and
much.
that was I remember that. I love standstill because then I just animated my creature land and I started swinging because it was like I knew no one would cast anything.
That's the control.
You
feature,
can?
right?
Yo,
Yeah.
standstill is actually kind of sick in Commander, but like, hold on, who draws? Everybody else but the person, right?
So if you play a spell, then you
Yeah.
don't get to draw. Everyone else draws 3 cards and
Yeah,
standstill
okay.
goes away. So ideally, you don't want to cast a spell. And then you would abuse this by having ample lands and something to do with it. So if you, let's say, have a thematic compass, perfect, right? Because every turn you can just sink your mana into drawing a basic, playing a land. If you have Mind's Eye, perfect. Like every turn you can just sit there and like, draw all the cards you want. Fairy Mastermind in
Mastermind.
response to
Yeah.
this thing going
Yeah.
off. Bowmasters.
Narset. Play this with Narset out. Oh la la.
No, you play it with Notion Thief. Come on, y'all. Narset doesn't do
Oh.
anything. That's
Wait, if you
pointless.
do with Narset, it just counters this, right?
Yeah, exactly. It just
Oh.
Well, I guess you
Okay,
get to draw.
fine.
You get to draw 3, right?
Okay, Notion Thief and this. That is
Yeah,
a
this is
spice.
Notion
Or
Thief.
Orcish
Now we're
Bowmaster
cooking.
out.
Now we're cooking.
That's actually
Okay.
pretty good.
But no, I actually really like Standstill. If your game plan is to like slow everybody down and buy some time, like because then you secret rendezvous. They secret rendezvous except for everyone else. I think it's
You
cool.
need to build around this. Like you could just
Do
like
you?
Escanta every turn.
Hold
you
on.
can
Do
terrain
you?
generate. Like, you can do lots of stuff with your mana without playing spells if you plan around it. I guess you could channel. Channel doesn't count, right?
Channel
You can
is not an
things.
activated ability.
Yeah, you can
Hold on.
channel.
I like
Yeah.
this. I'm
like
gonna
this if you're
Standstill
playing
no-
You
it's
Helix
control deck.
Pinnacle. You Helix Pinnacle in 7. Every turn, you sink your mana to Helix Pinnacle, and your opponents can't do a thing about it.
No, I
Standstill
think you
Notion
could,
Thief.
wait,
I'm
you really
down.
don't think you
I'm-
could play
I'm
this
for
any
it.
slow deck, like control deck or anything like that? Because I think you could just play this in a control deck or in a land go kind of deck to buy you time. Because you know you're not casting anything.
But like the Solemn will just kill you. like
Sure,
just take their
but
2 drops
but
to
you
kill
get
you.
time. You have time to deal with the Solemn, right? Because then they're only going to hit you with that Solemn.
I mean,
actually
isn't
I don't know.
isn't the right way to play against this? You just like cast a spell. It's just like it's a draw 3, and you just like suck it up and deal with it. Like, isn't that what you do in Legacy? So isn't this just like you play this and you draw the whole table?
Not in
and plug a bunch of
Commander.
cards.
Because in Legacy, you're only one person is drawing 3. You're essentially dealing out 9 cards here.
Yeah, but most are going to your opponent.
Are you
Yeah,
really
no,
gonna
exactly.
track it
That's
as
the
soon as
problem.
it comes down?
Like, it sucks not to be the person to get cards, but I think that's what you should do, right? You just like you're like, all right, you draw 3, like you did it. Like,
You
good job.
fully
I'm gonna draw 3.
skyrocketed
Whoever has
the-
more lands in hand, because the way you play it is you keep making land drops so you run out, and then if you start discarding a hand size, that's when you're in trouble, right? So that's when you feel like the need to play something. But usually the deck who plays Standstill will be able to play this game much better than you. They have stuff to do with their mana, they have enough lands. So that's the idea of it. In a generic deck, like you might miss land drops and start chucking your hand before everyone else, and this is like a terrible play at that point. Or like late game, you may have the worst late game, right? Like,
yeah.
you may not have a better late game than someone if you're playing a generic deck, so you don't want to actually go to random late game. So I think it requires some finesse.
Kind of rough. But early game, dude, it's only 2 mana. Hold on, I think this is actually kind of sweet. I think this is kind of sweet.
Do it, and then Seth will crack it immediately.
Yeah,
and
you
we'll
know,
all be very happy.
Seth will just play right into it. He's gonna play, haha, Explorer Scope. Oh,
That's what you gotta do. You gotta get it off the table and let the game progress. So I think that's how you beat the Standstill.
I mean, and if somebody
You
does
just don't
that,
play the
that's
game.
great. You all just drew, except for the person that broke it, 3 cards. That's great.
But your opponents drew 6 and you drew 3, right? Like, you drew your opponent 6 cards and you drew
Sure.
3 cards. I'm still not sure you're coming out that far ahead in that exchange. Like, you screwed
were-
me over. Richard and Tomer are really happy, and you're like kind of a little happy.
But
That's
that
why
means
you
you won't. People won't be as mad at you. So like they drew 3 cards,
It's true. It's group huggy, kind of. I feel
Yeah,
like it's a
it's
group
group
hug
huggy.
card.
and then also, you know, if it's in my kind of deck, I'm playing Bowmaster and Notion Thief. So
Oh, well, yeah, if you're doing that stuff, then it gets kind of brutal.
All right. Lord English, Batwing Brume.
Yes.
2 mana, a hybrid Orzhov, and a 1 generic instant. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. If white was spent to cast it, each player loses 1 life for each attacking creature he or she controls if black was spent to cast it.
Mhm.
This is what
That's like-
Inkshield wants to be. This is like the
What?
playable Inkshield.
Fractal
What?
baby.
It's only 2 mana. You can actually cast it, and you get the damage, and you get a fog out of it. It's so good.
But
no,
card
I don't know.
legitimately is
About
this
good.
that.
this card's fine, but this is
Yeah.
like I was gonna say it's a proto Inkshield. Like Inkshield is now just a superior version. Like that's counterspell to mana drain, I think. Like Inkshield, you cast it, you win the game. Like it just gives you a lethal army and you win the game. And this one is like, yeah, you fog them, you'll drain them. Sometimes if they're like at 5 or something, they'll die, and that's really cool. I've seen that happen before, but like usually it's a fog that like drains them a little bit. The Inkshield literally wins you the game. I
Yeah.
think that's the difference.
But this is 2 mana.
walks into
Inshield's
Inkshield?
infinite mana.
Who plays around
Who plays with the
Inkshield?
Inkshield?
Everyone, when you said
No,
they
they
five,
don't.
it's like who
Then
walked
don't-
into a rift? You're like, I see the 7 mana. Okay, I get it, right? Like you don't exactly walk into that, but you do
even-
walk into 1 or 2 mana spells all the time because you can't play around 2 mana
Richard,
spells the whole game, right?
Richard, the fact that Inkshield lives in your head rent free right now and that you're playing around it means that it's doing its job.
Not really.
It's also-
Not
Are you-
really, because you
are
spent
you
5 mana. You wasted 5 mana on your turn. That's not free, right?
But
But it
okay,
wins with
okay.
the
I'm gonna ask
game.
you this.
But
if I
joke's
have
on you.
5
Krim
mana
had a
open-
standstill out. He wasn't going to waste that mana anyway.
Yeah. Standstill into Inkshield.
Yeah.
Yo, that's so sick.
Yeah, the Brume drains you 1 for each creature, right? That's it. Yeah, and then the
For each
Inkshield is
attacking
1.
creature.
It makes a 2/1 for each damage prevented. So you attack me with 1 creature. It's like 5 power or something like that. Brume
That's
drains
like
you for
saying
1.
Commandeer is better than,
No, it's worth
like
it.
counter
It's worth
spell
the
or
extra
something.
mana.
Emrakul is better than Squire.
No, it's
Yeah,
worth that.
you're right.
It's like,
I agree.
It's like Teferi's protection versus a 1 mana fog. It's like, oh yeah, well, Teferi's protection costs more mana, but it's way better.
I don't know
It's
why
worth it.
Inkshield's catching strays here. I'm just gonna say that I think
Inkshield's
this is a fine
amazing.
card. But I don't know why Inkshield got brought into this. Okay, Inkshield's great, but so this card's cool. This card's cool.
So here's the problem with Inkshield. Here's the biggest problem because I had Inkshield in I think a pre-con
Yeah.
or something. I played it recently. When your opponent knows it's happening, they won't attack you and you can't Inkshield. Like if you could Alpha Strike someone else, right? And then you fog them anyway and then get the creatures, then you have something to do, right? But the minute you see 5 mana up, you don't attack that person and then you
I'm gonna
waste
start
your
leaving
turn.
5 mana up. all the time.
Okay, I mean, great.
Yeah, then you didn't
I
hit
can't
me.
believe
Wait,
you guys
I don't
like-
die if I leave 5.
Why don't you
mana
just
up?
play
This is great.
Settle the Wreckage or Aetherize then, right? Because that's a lot of mana to hold up, right? Like
Because
it's
Settle the
not-
Wreckage doesn't win me the game.
Yeah, it doesn't win the game, dude. And it
People
It'll
ramps
make
you.
me a lethal army.
I swear, Inkshield players they feel smart when the 1 out of 20 games that it works. They just feel so smart that it actually worked, that it's worth the other 19 games
It's like
where they
100%
lose
of the time.
holding
The
up
only
5
time-
mana.
The only time Inkshield has not worked for me is somebody gets a board wipe, but like, okay, they force a board wipe out just because like has a single spell. Like that's fantastic. Every other time, if you don't have the board wipe, you're dead.
So let me get this
Great.
straight. Your opponent is playing Orzhov. They have 5 mana up, a grip full of cards. You're like, well, the logical
Got 'em.
conclusion is to attack them. That's the logical conclusion.
Oh man,
I
Yeah, no fear.
I got such a good idea for a Clash deck.
You know what? You know what's gonna be funny? You're gonna Inkshield, and then you're gonna feel so smart. You attack it back. They bat with you. You die.
Yeah.
That's right. That's fine. I'm good with that. I'm gonna be, every Orzhov deck is gonna have Inkshield. I promise you. Text you.
Really?
Every Orzhov
Wow.
deck.
We didn't even put room for this.
I would-
I was gonna say back ignoring Inkshield for a second. You played Teferi's Pro. Is this your second fog? Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I would play Ethereal Haze over this.
No.
So
Efficiency.
well, it's
What is
efficient
this
and it
Inkshield
prevents all
slander?
damage from creatures. So it prevents like random combo commander kills and stuff like that, right? So, but
Krim,
Batwing
please.
Brume is a
You got
Rakdos charm
Inkshield
though.
them.
It's
I,
fun.
We've-
I got a funny idea for Clash. I think I got an idea.
I mean, we've seen some Rakdos charm kills. Like the damage can be relevant sometimes. We have seen that happen in the past.
Yep.
It's also
I-
loss of life, so you can get through the One Ring or something.
Yeah.
like they're a way like it's actually slightly better than dealing damage, right? But yeah,
Someone on
funny
stream
card.
killed with Batwing Brume. It was very cool, but I'm just saying, it's fine. It's a
I
good
thought
card.
Tomer would be all about this because he's like,
It
I
is
don't
a
like
good
fog.
card. I like
Fog
the
has
card.
to do
This card is
something else.
sweet. I just don't
I
know why
like the
Inkshield.
card.
Why is
The card's
Inkshield catching
great.
strays?
The card is great. It's just like, yeah, it's not as
Rampant
good as.
Growth sucks. Here's the 6 mana ramp spell. Look how much more lands it gets.
Look, I like
Well,
rampant
yes.
growth. I like 3 visits, but then if you told me the rampant growth is 10 times better and 3 visits trash, then I'd be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I will just note that I've seen like 0 Inkshields on Clash.
That is-
like
I think-
ever.
That is
And I don't know if it's because you keep
horrible.
running it and dying with it in your hand, or because you don't run it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
bro. No, it wasn't on MTGO. That's why you didn't.
It wasn't on
you didn't get to
MTGO.
enjoy
The
it.
amount of times that was
Oh.
in my deck for Clash, but then I had to I found out it wasn't on there is many.
It's heartbreaking.
So if it
I
was
at-
4 mana, it would actually be Giga Brain because you could like leave open 2 mana and they're like, look, no Teferi's Pro, no Inkshield, and then they attack you, you Dark Ritual, Inkshield.
What happens if someone Batwing Brumes in response to the Inkshield? Does the second fog prevent the damage from the
Yes.
Inkshield preventing the damage so you
First
don't get the
one.
token?
Yeah, you get nothing. It counters the Inkshield essentially.
So a fog literally counters Inkshield? Wow, it keeps getting worse.
What do you think keeps getting worse?
Gets
Oh, well,
worse.
if I counter,
Somebody
soon
if I
fog
counter
your
Inkshield by
Inkshield?
fogging in response, then it doesn't do anything. It's like, well, you still fogged for me, I guess. Thanks. Cool.
All right, last card from NWMBA. Oh, they got two top comments in this thread. Green Slime, a 3-mana 2/2. It's an ooze with flash. With 4 tell, a single green. When green slime enters the battlefield, counter target activated or triggered ability from an artifact or enchantment source. If that permanent's ability is countered this way, destroy that permanent. And remember, 4 tell, you pay 2 mana for tell it face down, and then you pay 1 mana to like do the thing.
That's
Man.
sick. That's sick. Okay, I'm gonna play
That's
this
fun.
card. This card is sick.
If only an exiled this card would be actually a really good One Ring answer, I think, but it actually doesn't stop the One Ring, right? Because it
No.
destroys and the One Ring's indestructible. So what does this actually stop? You blow up my mind's eye, I guess. Like, got me, but like what
Aether
else?
Flex
I mean,
Reservoir.
you stop the One
Aether
Ring
Flux
fog
Reservoir.
ability.
I guess you can, yeah. Do you?
You can stifle the
yeah, I guess
counter
you can
the
stop
the
you can
fog.
stop the triggered protection
Yeah.
ability. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Which is probably 90% of the time what you really care. Okay, actually the cards are also really good. But
And no one's going to
Smothering
expect
Tide.
your 4-tell creature, your 4-tell card to be a green slime because I've never seen it before.
okay,
So
this card is kind of sick, dude. Okay,
You
hold
want to
on.
pay
I
the
kinda
one
wanna-
to Rhystic and you're like, no, I counter
What happened
it.
to Tomer's Dragon? It's like unplayable, right? The dragon that also stifles.
Yeah, but
Wait,
this
wait,
is
Trick
Dragon
much
Bind is
cheaper.
already very sus, but Trick Bind has a special clause that is A, split second, and 2, you can't activate it again, right? So if they are like, say, using Ashnod's Altar or something like that, right? Like you try to stop it, they can in response just like keep using it. They can go infinite in response, right? So there a lot of times where you want to use it, it doesn't even do what it needs to do. So it's a little suspicious already on top of being narrow, right? Like we don't even play Trick Bind, but Trick Bind actually gets something done.
But remember, this destroys the permanent, which like that's the big difference. This is an actual like removal spell, unlike the dragon or the trick bind. It's not like, oh, I just opted it for once. It's like I actually kill the thing, which is, I think that might make it worth it.
And
I would
could just do
actually
some
try
more.
playing this.
And also, let's talk about that body. Oh yeah, that's the 2/2. That's a win con right there. I love that. I love me some flash 2
Yeah.
powered threat.
I think
Flash
most
in the
of
green
time,
slimes.
Yeah,
It's also
like,
3
like
mana.
Standstill, beat them
That's
down.
You play
Caster.
Rex Sage most of the time, right? Like you just play Rex Sage and you move on with your day. But like in decks that care about casting from exile or whatever, then sure. Like if you're playing the new Kellen or Faldorn or whatever, then yeah.
no, but
you could
this
do
is
that.
gotcha value.
They'll play Rex
What
Sage.
about the gotcha value?
The gotcha value is pretty funny. And
Yeah,
just
like
like
gotcha values.
you're
infinite.
just slimed. You're like, get
Like, what's the
slimed
best
or
thing you
something.
could do?
Have a
Like a
catchphrase.
Smothering Tide or something? Like, what's
That's
the-
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets any equipment when it goes to
But-
equip.
Cauldron
You blow up
piece?
any of that.
No, Cauldron Piece
out
are
of here.
indestructible.
All of them? I
Oh.
thought only one of them is.
The shield grants indestructibility to the other two.
This is sus. Like, what,
I mean,
the
of course
problem
it
is,
might
what
be
do you put? Like, if you're an ooze deck, I can see this, right? But like, if you're a normal deck, like, what do you cut to put this in? Your
Yeah,
interaction.
that's
What are your win cons? Like, what do you actually cut to put this
This
in?
is a win con. So
Well,
yeah,
this gets sagas, right? Sylvan Library, Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora,
this hits a lot.
Phyrexian
Most of the
Arena.
stuff Rex Sage just deals
There's
with,
actually
though.
like kind of a big list.
But that was 3 mana to get rid of Phyrexian Arena.
Yeah, but you got a
Yeah.
body, and you,
But
blew
you
up
get a
the
2/1
arena.
body with Rex Age.
Yeah, but this is a 2/2.
But Flash.
And
It's
gotcha
funnier that
value.
it
You're not
cuts down
calculating
on the value.
You're
a
not
little bit.
calculating in the salt value.
It
The
comes
opponent-
in as a
the-
chump blocker. That's a fog.
Somebody's gonna get got by this, and it's so much better than a Rex Sage because Rex Sage is directly in their face. That's like, okay, cool, I get it. But when they get got by a card from the Shadow Realm, yeah, that's good.
I
That's
feel
good.
if I play Phyrexian Arena and then you green slime it, I think you just got yourself, actually. I think I'm fine with that.
Nah.
The flash matters though, right? Like that lets it stop the One Rings trigger. It lets it stop Etherflux Reservoir kills. Like your Rex Age isn't going to be able to stop those.
Yeah.
And you can put it, you can foretell it before you need it, which is nice. Like it can help with curving out a little bit and stuff, but it doesn't
That's the
it doesn't hit
argument.
it doesn't hit everything though. That's the problem. Like, oh, there's a ghostly prison. Oh no, it hits a ghostly prison.
It hits the
actually.
ghostly for
It hits a no, but like Cage Sun or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
stuff
There
that
are
don't
things
have
it doesn't hit.
triggers. It's like,
Panorama-
Stuff that doesn't have
Monogon.
triggers. If you don't
Better
have
Monogon.
mana up when the thing comes down, like you can't do. It's like counterspell versus removal, right? The Rex Sage still
Yeah.
comes in and cleans it up. This is like you better hope you had green mana when it was coming down or
But-
triggering itself.
I
But
think
no
that's
one will
funny.
play around you in green having this.
This is
I will
Giga Brain.
continue to
isn't
not
it,
play
though?
around it, Krim.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I will continue
Small
to
Brain
not
is
play
Rex
around.
Age.
You do
Giga Brain
that,
is
and
the
now
ooze.
This card
Ah,
cooks. I
it's-
like this.
I don't know
card.
if I don't know. I do like it too. I don't know if it's good enough just to jam in a generic deck, but like Tomer said, if you get any synergies for cast from exile or anything like that, then I think it's probably better than Rex Age.
There is a synergy. It's called I had green in my deck, so I played it. So that
We gotta watch out
Wow.
when Krim plays Abzan. You don't know if that's gonna be Inkshield or Green
Yeah.
Slime coming through.
Opposite.
Like, how do you play around all these possibilities?
I'm gonna play so many bad cards in Abzan, but none of them are
Abzan
Inkshield.
Drago.
Okay, Seth, I got a better question for you. So let's say you're playing Selesnya
Mhm.
and you want to get someone. Do you play Green Slime or Mana Tithe?
Oh man, it's gotta be Mana Tithe. Nothing gets people like Mana Tithe. That's still S tier as far as getting people. Although this is pretty good. I do think Green Slime is underrated.
All right. Looking forward to the Green Slime meta. So that's fun. We got some hidden secret tech.
There's
here.
some
We
good
had to
ones.
read some of these cards. In fact, we read some of the cards. We don't understand what they even do after reading them. So that's the best part. Let us know in the comments what you think about some of these cards. Let us know, is Green Slime playable in a non-slime deck? Batwing Brume? Standstill? Would you play these cards? Some
Yes.
interesting cards. Let us know. And if we've missed any secret tech, let us know. If you pile enough secret tech in, we can make another episode of your secret tech cards so we can comment on your personal favorites. So let us know in the comments. And we'll see you all back here next week. See you, everyone.